Hello, ninth graders. My name is Mr. Ostis. I am one of the Rosemount High School counselors, and I am glad to be with you today to share with you some information from the counseling office and also to share with you some information about how you can use a program we have called Naviance to help organize your search for what you might be thinking about doing after you graduate from Rosemount High School 4 years from now. Both thinking about what might be coming educationally for you if you're thinking post-secondary education, and thinking about what career options might be for you. So we'll be getting into Naviance a little bit later today, and I'll just be modeling a few things for you. Before we do that, though, I just want to remind you that your counselor is very happy to meet with you. And we understand that there are a number of stressors right now that don't exist for students typically and may be getting in the way. So we know that talking about academics, talking about mental health, or even talking about college and career planning might be even more important now than it has been in the past. We really want to encourage you to reach out. We are here to help, whether it's talking about stressors that go directly along with your academics or stressors due to things that are happening outside of school. We really want to be a resource for you. Want to remind you how you can make an appointment with us. If you go to the Rosemount High School homepage, you go to the Families tab, go under Counseling, and then if you scroll down to where you see the pictures of all of the counselors, there'll be a section called Schedule a Calendly Appointment. If you click that, you'll be able to schedule an appointment directly with us. And we are currently meeting with students via Zoom, or we can have a phone call if that's something you'd prefer instead. But again, please reach out. We are happy to help. I also want to remind you just of who your counselor is. Remember, here at Rosemount High School, you have a counselor assigned to you based on your last name, and that breakdown is right here on this slide. As an example, I work with students with the last names LEB through NL. I also work with students who are AVID 12, and I work with students that have any sort of services for English language learners. Also want to note here that if you are a student watching this in AVID 9, remember that your school counselor is Miss Denson. You would work with her instead of your counselor based on your last name. Now that we've reviewed who your counselor is and reminded you that we're here to help, I want to take some time and jump into Naviance with you and show you a couple of the different applications that this program has that might be interesting to use as you're, again, thinking about what might be coming for you 4 years from now after you graduate from Rosemount High School. To do that, I'm going to get out of the PowerPoint here, and I'm going to first go to the Rosemount High School homepage because I want to make sure you remember how to log into Naviance. It has been a few weeks since you did that survey with Mr. Desjardins. So remember, if you're at the Rosemount High School homepage, you will come over to the Families tab, and then the login for Naviance is right here. Also, since we're here, I just want to remind you that this is where you come over to the Counseling tab, and you could click in there to find your counselor and schedule that appointment. But for what we're going to do today, if you come over to the Naviance tab, click, and it might bring you to a page like this where it asks you to enter your school name. So I'm going to type in Rosemount High School, click go. You can see that it populates here underneath. And if you click Rosemount High School, then it'll bring you to this page where you can log in as a student. If you click student, it's going to ask you for your login username and password. And remember, that is the same as you use for logging into Schoology or Campus. Naviance is the same as what those passwords are. Because I'm going to be using a demo, I go in a little bit different way, and I've got that page pulled up here already. But once you log in, you should see a page like this. And if you look over here, it will have your name here instead of where it says demo, my last name, again, which is Ostis. This is the home page. You can see there's quite a few things going on here. I have my demo set to be a senior since I work with seniors a lot in the fall. You should have a different welcome message here. When you were here with Mr. Desjardins previously, you were working from the About Me tab, and then you came down to surveys to take that needs assessment survey. Today, I'm going to be showing you some things from the college and career tabs up here. And the first thing I want to show you is in the colleges tab. Seniors this year are working a lot on this colleges I'm thinking about tab, and you will be too in a few years if you're applying to a 2 or 4 year school. because you will need to tell us where you'd like your transcripts sent. And so your school has to be in here if you're having a transcript sent to a school. Nothing you need to do with this right now, just letting you know in a few years you might be in this page a lot depending upon how many applications you're asking us to push out for you. What I want to show you today is actually going to be under Find Your Fit, and I want to show you this super match application. This is my very favorite thing in Naviance, so I'm glad to get to show it to you today. There are over 4,000 post-secondary institutions in the United States. And when you think about that, it can feel really overwhelming, especially if you're thinking you really want to find a school that's going to be the right fit for you. A lot of students, they know schools maybe because their parents went there or they had a family member that went there, maybe a sibling. Maybe they know about a school because it feels like it's in their community. A lot of us know about schools like the University of Minnesota system, maybe some of the private schools around, like in Augsburg or a St. Thomas. And then some of us know about schools because we have a sports team that we follow, and we follow NCAA sports, and we know about them that way. There's still so many schools beyond that, and it's interesting to be able to have an opportunity to look at what some of those are. So I want to show you how this tool works. When you first log in, you won't have any search criteria here. And so when we scroll down, it'll say no results yet. There's a bunch of different search criteria that we can use as we're trying to figure out what schools might be a good fit or a good starting spot for us to look at. You can see some of those up here: location, academics, admission criteria. Jump over here. Cost is a big one that we know students and families are thinking about. What I'm going to do today to model this just briefly is go over to location. I think a lot of times students have some idea of if they want to stay close to home, if they'd like to go far away. Maybe you're open to anything, and that can make it a little bit more broad. But let's say I was a student and I knew that I wanted to stay in the Midwest. You can search by region, or you can put in a specific state. When I click Midwest, it gives me a number of different states that are considered in the Midwest. I can see Minnesota's here, Wisconsin is here. I'm going to go ahead and leave that. It'll also let me decide or put in if I want to be in a large city, a small city, a suburb. Since we live in a large metro area, I'm just going to go and put in large city. Again, you would be able to put in whatever feels like the right fit for you. And if I click off of that, you can see here that if I scroll down, it tells me that there are 64 schools or institutions that meet my search criteria. And then it lists them below, and it gives a little snapshot of what that school is. So over here, you've got the name of the school. It tells you it's a 100% match, but remember, it's only a 100% match because I've only given those two very broad pieces of search criteria. I want something in a large city, and I want it to be in the Midwest. It also gives you a snapshot of what the cost might be. So let's scroll down and see just a couple more. We've got DePaul, we've got Hamlin, which is one that's in St. Paul, so that's fairly local to us. Let's put in even a little bit more search criteria. I'm going to go up to academics, and then I'm going to scroll down here. I'm going to put bachelor's degree as the degree type. A bachelor's degree is a 4-year degree. Typically, if a student goes to somewhere like the University of Minnesota, again, St. Thomas, Hamlin, they are working towards a 4-year degree. And then under search majors, I'm going to type nursing. One thing you'll see here is that there are a lot of different types of nursing that come up. I think the one that a lot of people think of when they think nurse is an RN, a registered nurse. So I'm going to click on that. I'll click out of there again. And you can now see that it's added majors to my must-have, and that lowered the match rate from, I believe it was 64 to 35 institutions. And I might not see some of those schools I was looking at on here still. DePaul is still on here, so I'm going to use that as an example. Click on DePaul. This is right in Chicago. And then every school that you could click on in here has its own page that should be able to give you an overview of the school. It'll tell you about things like graduation rate, acceptance rate, average net price. There's a lot more that goes into price than just what you'll see here, but we're not going to get into that today. And then there's a link here that you could click if you wanted to go to this school's actual website, and that will exist for any school. It will link directly to their webpage, so you could find out a lot more information than what might be spotlighted here right on Naviance. So that's how you use the Supermatch feature. I'm going to come up here now to Careers and go to Explore. And this is a way when if you have a career in mind that you're interested to know more about, that you could come in here. I'm going to stick with nursing. Type go. And registered nurse is still over here. So if I click on that, then it's going to give me some broad information about what to expect for nursing if I were to go into that career. It's got an overview. It'll talk about different knowledge and skills you need, abilities, areas of knowledge that are important. It'll discuss different tasks and activities that you might be doing on a daily basis in this career. And then what many people are often interested in is how much money will I make if I go into this career? So you can see here that it lists out the national average, and then it also lists our state for Minnesota. Here's the average, and then it shows what people made. At least 90% of people made at least $54,000. It'll list a statistic like that for every career in here. So those are the two things I wanted to show you in Naviance. And again, really encourage you to come in here and just mess around with this. If we go back to Supermatch really quick, let's say I used this and then I didn't use it for 6 months and I came back to it and I was thinking something totally different. All I would have to do is clear out my search and I could start right over. All right, so the last thing I want to share with you today is just a heads up reminder about something that is coming up here right when you get back from break. We will be moving into the time of year when you will be registering for your classes for the 2021-2022 school year. And I know that feels like a long ways away right now, but this is something we do in January, just like when you were in 8th grade last year and we came down to the middle school. Because it takes a long time to put these schedules together, and we really need to know what you're thinking this early in this year so that we can be prepared for next year. A couple dates here that we want you to be aware of. January 7th, there'll be a parent registration night where your folks can get some information. You'll get your registration materials January 11th and 12th, and then you'll be able to actually go in and register the 19th to the 26th. There will be a lot more detailed information coming out about this later on. This is just a heads up so that you know that this will be coming. Might be good to start thinking over break about the classes, especially electives, that you would like to be registering for when you come back in January in the new year. If you have questions about anything related to registration, specifically the classes you're thinking about taking, how is it working with your graduation requirements, things of that nature, please reach out to your counselor. Again, you can schedule an appointment through the website. We'd be very happy to meet with you to talk through some of that planning that you're doing for next year or beyond. So with that, I just want to say thank you for paying attention. Hopefully you'll be able to get into Naviance and use the college and career tools that I showed you today and be able to use that to do a little bit of planning, even right now as a 9th grader, as you start to think about what you might like to do after you graduate from Rosemount High School. Hope you have a great rest of your day.